Well, I'm here today to talk about some of the great work going on in the Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement. But before I get started, I want to let you know I'm joined by Senator Jill Carter, who was the director of the Office of Wage Enforcement. And I'm going to unveil a few changes coming to the office. You have to excuse my voice this morning. First, I would like to personally congratulate the Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement on being awarded a major grant by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The office was recently awarded a Fair Housing Initiative Program grant in the amount of $101,464,000 from HUD. The grant will help people who believe they have been victims of housing discrimination and will also help to educate the public and housing providers on fair housing laws. The agency received this competitive grant as a result of their hard work and attention to detail. The HUD grant is a part of a $15 million effort by the federal government to support dozens of fair housing organizations working to confront violation of the nation's landmark Fair Housing Act. Director Darnell Ingram is traveling out of the country and couldn't be here with us today. On behalf of the agency Deputy Director, Mr. Cedric McCray, I would like to congratulate the hardworking staff for your tireless advocacy on behalf of the citizens of Baltimore.
Thank you, ma'am, sir.
Also today, we're announcing that under my direction, the Office of Civil Rights Enforcement will once again become a standalone agency. There are 3 commissions and 1 board housed within the Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement: the Community Relations Commission, the Mayor's Commission on Disability, the Wage Commission, and the Civil Review Board, CRB. The public perception of independence is critical to pursuing economic justice. Effective immediately, the office will no longer serve under the law department, but will again function as an independent agency within the mayor's office. Both the CRB and residents complained that the law department could not, in cases of charges brought by the CRB against police officers, serve as counsel for both the plaintiff and the defendant. This move seeks to eliminate any perception of conflict of interest in these matters. Under Director Ingram's leadership, the office has been completely reorganized. The staff has increased from 17 to 22, and community outreach has expanded. Wage enforcement has increased its contract oversight, resulting in more financial penalties for contract violators. Thanks to the Department of Law, they have added 5 full-time and 2 part-time investigators to the staff. There's a lot of great work happening in the Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement, and I'm excited to support them in any way that I can. I want to thank the solicitor and members of the law department for their partnership with this office. And now I'd like to ask Senator Jill Carter to come forward to provide remarks. Senator Carter will be followed by Deputy Director McCray, Bridal Pearson, a chairman of the Civilian Review Board, and John Barber, a member of the Wage Commission. Is John here? Let me see.
John is here, sir.
Okay. All right. There you go.
You may want to say, you said 101 million, it's 101,000.
Okay. I'm sorry. The correction was 101,700. Did I say 1 million? Did I say 1 million? Yeah, $101,464. That's the correction. I would love for it to be 100 million.
Wouldn't we all? 100 million for civil rights. Thank you, Mayor Young. I'm so honored and happy to be here with you. You've made this very courageous and correct decision to separate the Office of Civil Rights from the law department. I want to make it clear that my presence here does not signify my return to the office. It simply means that I fully support Mayor Young and the Office of Civil Rights in its continued efforts to not only handle individualized complaints from victims of discrimination and police misconduct and wage theft, but its responsibility to set a civil rights agenda for all of Baltimore City. The staff of this office must be free to conduct unbiased investigations. The executive leadership must be unencumbered by politics within city government, and the boards and commissions must be permitted to act in the best interest of the people of Baltimore that they serve at all times and in all circumstances. It is imperative that they are able to secure independent legal counsel when it is warranted. Let me say also that during my tenure, it's not a secret that there were instances of conflict of interest with the Baltimore Police Department and the Civilian Review Board and the inherent conflict of interest of the solicitor representing both entities. Those shenanigans were a disservice to the victims of police abuse as well as the staff and board. I'm hopeful that the action announced today by Mayor Young is but a first step towards fully resourcing and supporting the critical work of the agency. The Office of Civil Rights is the only agency within Baltimore City with statutory authority to investigate complaints of not only police misconduct, but to investigate claims of racial, sexual, and disabilities discrimination. The office, in many cases, is all that victims of discrimination have in Baltimore City. People must be able to trust that their claims will be fairly and vigilantly investigated and that decisions made with integrity and without conflict or political influence. I look forward to having the office continue to grow and soar and meet out civil rights discrimination in Baltimore City and working with Mayor Young. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of our director, Darnell Ingram, who could not be here, I just want to say, Mayor Young, thank you very much for acknowledging some of the recent accomplishments we've had in the office. Director Ingram has made sure that we are doing everything we can to enhance each and everything that we're doing in the Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement. I also want to say thank you to Solicitor Davis for his efforts in recent times during this transition. But we look forward to continuing to work with Mayor Young and for the residents of the city of Baltimore. Also, I would like to just highlight the fact that we do have our Civil Rights Week coming up starting September 27th, and it will conclude on October 5th. The first event will be our annual breakfast, and Jesse Jackson will be our speaker during that event, and we will have a closing gala, Civil Rights Gala, on October 5th at the Baltimore Convention Center. Thank you. Can you state your name? Cedric McCray, Deputy Director, Office of Civil Rights and Wage Enforcement.
Okay. John? Where's John?
John Barber, Wage Commissioner. I'm thankful to be here today for this special occasion. As Wage Commissioner, we support the mayor's decision. We look forward to protecting the rights of workers throughout Baltimore City. Thank you.
All right, any questions?
Dr. Pearson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Go
ma'am.
right ahead.
Thank you.
Let me see.
It's all right.
Right.
Okay, we skipped over, you should have went first.
That's okay. I wasn't trying to interrupt. I'm Dr. Bridal Pearson, Chair of the Civilian Review Board of Baltimore City. We greatly support righting this wrong that was done to basically the community members who face constant police misconduct. We are that voice, and I would say that this is what advocacy looks like. When this first took place, when we found out that we were being taken over by the Baltimore City Law Department, the city solicitor, we were highly, highly outraged. But the Civilian Review Board and the ACLU advocated in many ways, and the Baltimore City Council was very responsive because they immediately had emergency session, and that gave us space to be able to be clear about the problems with this injustice that was taking place. And so I want to say we're going to continue to be the voice of the community, those facing police misconduct, and we greatly support this effort. Thank you very much, Mayor, and everyone that's involved in doing so.
Any questions?
Can you say his name?
Dr. Bridal Pearson, Chair of the Civilian Review Board of Baltimore City.
Mr. Mayor, how long has this been in the works?
Well, I can tell you this, as the doctor just said, when the city council found out about it, we made it known to Mayor Pugh that we wanted this body to be independent of the law department because we felt the same way that the law department could not represent both entities, and it should have always been separate.
And so was there, I mean, this decision, was this made last week, was it made last month? When was the?
This decision, as far as I'm concerned, was made when I was president of city council, trying to convince the mayor to do that. So this decision was always in the back of my mind that it was going to be separate. And when I became mayor, that was one of the first things I wanted to do.
Mr. Mayor, can you provide an update on ransomware attack that's going on in this city?
Well, right now, the ransomware thing, most of you know, came out of NASA. So what we're doing now is we're going to get with our federal delegation to see if we can get some kind of financial support to cover the costs that we're incurring now to try to right that wrong. We're making progress right now as we speak on some of the programming pieces that we have. We're not completely there yet. So our team is working very hard. We have our federal partners, our state partners working with us, outside experts. Hopefully we can be out this in a reasonable amount of time. I can't give you a time frame because, you know, when a virus hit, you have to really find out where it is throughout the whole system. This was a virus that was a smart virus. Anytime NSA do something, they do it well. I just hope that they had the key so that we can get out of this. So we will be working with them as well to see how we can work together to get our system back online. But we're making progress.
And last we spoke, you mentioned that you would consider paying the ransom if it would help move the city forward. Are you still considering it?
No, I'm not. No, matter of fact, we're going to work with other cities, encourage them not to pay either.
Mr. Mayor, you obviously, like many people in the city, were upset about what happened at the Inner Harbor this weekend. What do you make of the president of the FOP's comments that these are not just kids, that these are criminals?
Well, to be honest with you, I did not read his comment, but I know that it wasn't all young people in Baltimore, just a select few that continue to want to come down to the harbor and wreak havoc. It's unacceptable for anybody to do that, not just down in the harbor, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, totally unacceptable. And I just feel that we need to reach out to our young people to find more resources for them, because that's not fun. Attacking people is not fun. You know, I wouldn't want my family members to be attacked. It's just totally unacceptable. But it wasn't all of the youth for Baltimore, just a few.
As it relates to the Office of Civil Rights.
I can't hear you.
And as it relates to the main topic, Civil Rights Office being moved out of the Law Department, what was City Solicitor Davis's response when you were told him?
Well, you know, the response should have been, Mr. Mayor, I support your move.
So was that his response?
I didn't get a response. It was moved.
You know, with school letting out shortly and summer coming, what is the solution to deal with this? So as people are coming to our city throughout the summers, that they don't encounter this?
Well, really, it's a parenting question. Are the parents talking to their young people to let them know that downtown belongs to you too, the inner harbor belongs to you too, but you go there and act with common sense and decency, and not go down there to disrupt and fight and create mayhem down at the inner harbor. It's just unacceptable. And like I said, not just in the harbor, we have it in our communities. You know, we have the murders, the shootings of women and children. That one time, women and children were off. You didn't attack women and children. I mean, this kind of behavior is unacceptable. And I'm making no excuses for it. It's totally unacceptable. But that don't indict everybody who lives in the city of Baltimore, because 99.9% of the citizens in Baltimore are law-abiding citizens and want to do the right thing. It's that 1% that keep us held hostage, and we have to do something about that. If that means parents talking with their kids and getting engaged in what they're doing and letting them know what's right and what's wrong, like my parents did with me, that's what we have to do. You know, and the school system have to be a part of this. The school system have to open up these schools.
And for those parents who aren't doing their part, I guess how do we work together as a city to get around that?
Well, if they don't do their part, when they do the destruction, they have to pay for it. That's the way you get around it. Thank you.
The police department's response.
Say that again.
What did you think of the police department's response?
That wasn't the police department response, that was the FOP response.
No, I just mean in general to how they handled the youth, not the comments, but just.
Well, according to what I've seen, some of the videos I've seen, I think they handled it very well. I don't think they went down there to attack our young people. They went down there to have peace and order, and those who was disorderly were arrested. Thank you.